Alpha Media Room, back with another one. Sit back and let's basically get straight into it. We got Joe Budden and the crew talking about Cardi B and Offset situation. Cardi B and Offset situation is just one of those situations to where stay out of other people's business, right? You know, and it's just one of those situations where I constantly always think about the fact that not even a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, she was telling us, hey, stay out of my business with my husband or whatever the hell, right? Because everybody kept talking about, oh, why are you going back to a cheater and all of this other stuff. She said that she loved him. I remember that one time she just went off on her fans. So ever since she kind of did that, I'm like, all right, I'm always going to look at Cardi B like whatever she's just doing, just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's something as popular or attention seeking as this situation to where Stefon Diggs is now the person that's used as the golden man. You know, someone whose rap sheet is just not clean when it comes to relationships. And to just leave someone who, for being like so overly sexual with a bunch of different women, to go with someone who's kind of known in the industry for just being a player. Simple as that. You think he's gonna tie himself down? A player who's supposed to be, he's in his prime as well, one of the best NFL players. You're telling me that he's just going to settle down with someone with multiple children for the long term, and he's just not in it for the lust of it all, you know what I'm saying, just for the aesthetics or just for the popularity, you know, Cardi B, Offset, or just, you know, being able to finesse a rapper's girlfriend. You know, the same stuff the rappers always rap about is now happening to them, you know, catering to that. But let's basically hear what Joe Budden and the crew had to say, because, you know, they kind of gave their points. Melissa Ford kind of stayed stagnant in where she, her like, you know, stayed defending Cardi B, because most women, not most, but some women who kind of, I would say, who see kind of similarities in the Cardi B situation where it comes to kind of getting the superstar boyfriend or the superstar like upgrade in terms of Stefon Diggs, you know, they're gonna see it as like an upgrade. So I can see Melissa Ford's point. That's all I'm saying, basically. But let's basically get into it.
Can we refer to Stefon as a sniper here? Is that what we would do?
I mean, I think
what's
most
the male?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know if
what
it was
level
like,
is a different.
I didn't know if it was like just a woman thing or if it was just like a.
He got some kills.
Okay, he's a sniper.
Navy SEAL.
I don't know if he's a sniper. Though. He's pretty.
Navy SEAL.
Too.
Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL.
He's you see him. You see him.
Yes, I've got eyes. Yes. Okay, so
That ain't. I don't. Navy SEAL. I don't know if
y'all come up with a fucking
Navy SEALs,
term
you know,
for this
you don't see them. That's the point of a sniper.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know if
I don't know if he's a Navy SEAL.
He might be, yo.
I think he one of the young sports niggas that fucking looked up to rappers, girls. I mean, or looked up to rappers, seen a girl. Now that it's his time to shine, he just on a fucking mission, no matter how you look.
Okay, so we're just gonna call him a sniper for now. Okay, is the bigger problem that she is dating a sniper, and so she might have possibly, in maybe Offset's eyes, upgraded, or is it the fact that he now knows that she literally doesn't give a fuck anymore? Because the first time that she filed for divorce, he was able to get her back, and she stayed for several years, and they had another baby.
You glazing.
But then the next time she files for divorce, enough shit had probably happened.
Yo.
Repeated actions that she would, and also weathering the storm of continuous public humiliation. So her public humiliation was while they were married and he was cheating. She's on the outside of that marriage. And is he not the first one to have stepped out publicly with somebody else? And she was a beautiful girl, but nobody knew who the fuck she was.
It's a slap.
She just happens to be dating a fine-ass star.
No, it's a slap.
That's really
it's
what
a
the
slap
fucking
in the
problem
face
is.
when you put all the stuff on the
So
table.
you asked us a question and answered it.
And made up some other shit.
I didn't make up some other shit. Well, I mean, Parks did kind of answer
I
it.
didn't. You're speaking for men.
No, you did answer it because you said it was the second one.
It's a slap in the face when you lay everything on the table and say, this is why I'm leaving this relationship, just to get in bed or get with somebody that does the same exact thing.
No, and
To
he
me.
said months ago when they first were talking about the breakup, this is who she fucking with. And everybody was like, maybe not, because they were denying it at first.
Right.
He knew that early When she was pregnant, he was like, yo, this who she fucking with.
Nigga, I would rather.
He laid it out there.
Don't fuck with a nigga like me. Go get yourself a nerd, a geek, a professor at a college. Go get yourself one of them, somebody cool. Go get a nigga from Starbucks that work by a manager. Something different from me.
Cardi B is not fucking with someone from Starbucks.
I'm not talking. I'm just talking about. I'm using me as an example. I wouldn't want you. If you lay on the table, I don't like this about you, that about you, that about you. You're doing this, and then you get with somebody that does the same thing I'm doing.
You lost say.
And we got to stop saying that.
What?
Which one?
We got to stop saying such and such because of their cachet wouldn't do such and such.
That's
You
true.
might be right.
They just don't publicize.
They might not publicize
when they doing that.
Or the media might
they
not
do a
show.
lot of low.
They're
They do a
slide,
lot
they're
of slick
slide.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And then when they get
That's
the big
true.
fish, that's when they pop
That's
out
when
on
the
them.
media,
And make,
or that's when the media finds it interesting enough to write about.
but that was Offset's first beef.
What?
Is that, oh, you playing romantic games with my ops. He worded it differently. But he said, oh, you playing different. Like, you fucking mine.
Oh, I ain't know that.
So you mad that I play your game better than you?
Who
Don't
said that
complain
that's-
about me then.
Mel, let me ask you a
All right,
question.
we should escape this.
Yeah, we should.
We should leave. Come on, y'all. Come on. Mel's mind is made up.
No,
We're not
I'm
trying
just,
to coerce
I'm
you.
posing
game?
questions.
What game?
I'm literally riffing off of what Joe was saying
and you said,
what
yo,
Flip
you
was
mad
saying.
that I'm playing your game better than you.
Yeah.
What was his game? His game was he was fucking her ops? I don't know.
No. Cheating.
I'm asking you that.
No, just in terms of like
Cardi would say yes.
Yeah.
She would say yes, but
I'm asking.
And just
we know he was fucking her ops.
I don't know nothing I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
I don't know nothing I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Just
I have no idea.
To your point, yo,
cheating
I think that they
infidelity
both
or
are
whatever.
married. I think that they both have children. I think that they were in love at some point in time. And when you break up, you, in my opinion, have to consider the other person's feelings, especially publicly. I think that's what mature people should do.
I don't think that he.
And-
I think she would argue that he did not
How long
consider
does that
her
last?
feelings.
We want to be
Yeah,
misogynist
like,
now.
fam.
Enough
You just keep
enough of the woman voice. for
How
this
long
topic.
does that last? What you just said.
a year.
You think that's wise?
I believe, and I'm saying this in closing, I believe double standards should exist sometimes.
Y'all have definitely said that up here.
What?
Life is double standards, man. And we
I get
So
I hear that.
he's saying, yo, I been hoeing. You shouldn't really have as much time to hoe as me, because you the primary. What you need to do is sit your little hot ass down and put an album out, but you won't. That's what he's saying.
And y'all.
And the co-parent dad, newsflash, is always going to be able to say that. And we're going to say it. And it's going to sound nasty. Hey, we know what the truth is under that. But niggas is going to say, yo, where's my kid with Nana again? You moving and shaking again? Where the fuck is Timmy? Where's our baby?
I'm gonna need a cut.
Anyway, that's enough of us minding people business.
Yeah, facts.
Nobody calling me. Now you a bitch. And now I'ma state my shit. His bitch ass. Gonna tell the Breakfast Club the only reason why this motherfucker asking for spousal support because I was asking for everything. I don't be with my kids. Yo, you such a ass nigga. Word to my mother. I want you to die, but I want you to die slow. Nigga. I want you to die slow in the bed. And while you die, you gotta think of me. When I first filed for divorce, my lawyer filed for shit.
It's graphic.
And this nigga started spazzing, right? So I told my lawyer, there's a renewed divorce paper, right? I didn't ask for no child support because I want to be done with this marriage. Like, I feel like I'm tied up. Kiari is allowed to see my kids. There is not one day that he's not allowed to see my kids. He stood up my kids 3 times. He have seen Blossom only like 5 times. And I've been trying to save your face. But for you, stop playing saying that I don't be seeing my fucking kids. Stop playing because you don't want to look like a less of a bitch ass. If I'm lying, my kids could die if I'm lying. I said, you know what? To make it easier for you, you could see the kids in my house. Just because I want my daughter to feel the love of her dad. The last time you seen the kids was in March on Cody's birthday. You haven't seen the kids since March. You went to do a hosting in Boston and you stood them up. You say you was gonna see the kids after Mother's Day and you stood them up. My house is always open. My house is always open for you to see my kids, and you still haven't seen them. So why you saying that you're asking for spousal support because I'm trying to take the kids from you? The kids is always open to see you. It's not my fault you don't want to fly to New York. What you mean I'm trying to take everything? The cars that you gave me, I gave you cars too. You gave me the Rolls Royce truck. You gave me the Lamb truck. The day that I bought my Maybach, the Maybach was $170,000, and I didn't have the $70,000 that day. I had to get it the next day. So you just put the $70,000. You want those cars so bad, bitch, you could get it. But then you want to talk about the houses. You want to talk about the houses? First of all, my Jersey house, I bought that shit. And you tell me myself, if you buy a house in Jersey, I'm not helping you think because I don't want a house up north. I bought that shit with my sweat and tears. The Atlanta house, you have put me with the bill the last year. You left me the last year. You have left me with the kids' bill. Y'all want to know what's the kids' bills? Start adding. My kids got their own driver. The kids' driver is on a retainer for $10,000 a month.
Damn.
Culture school this year, you didn't pay for it. That's $45,000. My cousin babysits Wave and Culture. She gets paid $3,000 a week. The nanny was $700 a day, but because she's only staying in the daytime, $500. Don't call me. Nobody call me. The baby's nanny is $500 a day now because she's not staying the whole day. Culture and Wave gets tutoring 4 times a week. Culture pianos class, that's $300 an hour, and she gets piano class 3 times a week. I'm not sure how much is gymnastic and Wave boxing classes, but I pay that too. And you have left me with that bill for a whole year. Have I asked you for anything? To 5 p.m. that I pay for. Because people in my house don't have time to cook. My cousin don't have time to cook. My mom that be helping with the kids don't have time to cook. So I need a chef. So my kids eat whatever the fuck they want because thanks to me. Also, my house have a security in front because, you know, our daughter constantly used to get threats, death threats. So I have a security 24 hours in front of my house, crazy. Which I pay as well. And you don't help me with none of it. My always tells me, yo, I don't want you to address nothing anymore. And I be trying to keep it cute. But for you to call the Breakfast Club and be like, oh, the reason why I'm asking for spousal support is because she wants everything. Everything like what? The gifts that you gave me? Bitch, you want it back? All right, so give me the gifts that I gave you back. Money for the house for Atlanta? Fine, we could split that. My house in Jersey, I bought it myself, so you're not getting shit from my house that I work my ass off. Anything for the kids, all I ask is for you to spend time with them, and you haven't spent no time with them, bro. You are mentally disturbed right now. And then when I don't be with my kids, where I be at, Offset? Where I'm at? I'm in Atlanta right now working. And when I fly out on the weekends, I fly out to my house in New York. And I spend times with my kids and I spend time with my man. I be with a nigga for once a week, 2 times a week. It gets to the point that my man go see me because I don't got time to go see him. He makes time for me because he know I'm busting my ass because he know how much this new era for me, my tour, and my album means so much to me. But you don't like that. That's calling me. Where to? For you to try to make me look in the media like I'm a deadbeat mom. Well, please tell the media how you left me with a $50,000 a month bill that I haven't even asked you $1 for. Belcalis, Marlenis, Almanzar pay over $50,000 just on her kids alone. Just on her kids alone. Me! I have to pay that bill. No help. He hasn't paid the mortgage for a whole year in the Atlanta house. You're in the Atlanta house right now, and you're be going over there. I be wanting to go over there and clap shit the fuck up, because at the end of the day, I'm paying for the bill and that shit, because you haven't paid shit for a whole year. But you know what? You harass me so much when I be with my nigga that I just want peace. I want peace. You want to be with your bitch in this house? Alright, fine. Just please leave me alone. I just want niggas to leave me the fuck alone. I just want to be free. I don't want to be called 40,000 times. Go tell the people when's the last time you seen your kids. You know what you did? You coerced my daughter. You did a video and you keep threatening about this video. I don't give a fuck, nigga. You coerced my daughter to say on FaceTime, oh, I miss my mommy. She's never here. She this, and that. And every single day you threaten me with that video. Like if I don't be busting my ass for them motherfucking kids.
Now that's basically what they had to say. Now on that specific episode, I kind of agree with a lot of stuff that Queen Slip was saying. If you're going, I'm just gonna expound on that point, because if you're going to leave someone for these specific traits, you know, not being able to set it down, someone that's kind of always on the go. Meanwhile, this is an NFL player. He's gonna be traveling a lot, all right? Especially during the winter times where it get cold and sometimes you just kind of want to snuggle up and hug up on someone. Stefon Diggs, you telling me a dude with that much, you know, popularity and aura, especially on the field, is a very talented player. So just that much popularity and skill and all that stuff, you telling me he's not gonna just look some other way when you gotta go to your children's rehearsal or you know, just taking care of mama stuff, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta do it from across the country for him sometimes, you know what I'm saying? What if he in, you know, LA playing the game and you in New York doing what you gotta do, or Atlanta, because she says she's based in, I don't know, both places, I don't know, but you're doing all that. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna do the same things that Offset is gonna do. It's just kind of obvious. I don't think Stefon Diggs in the prime of his career is going to settle down with Cardi B if I was just think of it long term. So when it comes to kind of labeling him as this, like, because she also calls him her man, so which is like, it baffles me that she actually takes it seriously enough to where she actually feels like they're boyfriend and girlfriend or something, and this can grow into something. Like, it almost makes me laugh because it's kind of so obvious. But I know sometimes in some situations we have to be very tenderhearted, especially when it's the opposite sex, you know. But I just feel like we just kind of have to just be obvious and just say the obvious in the situation. We just can't coddle celebrities, especially someone like Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? She made a song called WAP, bro. Like, Cardi B isn't the type of lady that I feel like should be coddled as much. I mean, she kind of goes off of the popularity or the attention, and she's kind of does degenerate things, you know, or her music, you know, or her words, the things she chooses to say. And this ain't even slander. I mean, I'm just saying, Offset, same thing. We're gonna hold both of them accountable. Offset is not a great man in terms of being a role model at all, right? And then if we're going off of what she says, he's not there for his kids, so that's just double the extra. So when you guys take all this stuff in consideration, that's where I just leave it to society. Just let them handle it. Let someone else go retweet. Let someone else go talk about it, because it's just like Cardi B and Offset, that's not gonna elevate our minds. We're not gonna learn no new lessons. That's like stories that we already know. And it's like, we're just gonna continue to watch the people do the same thing over and over again. He's gonna try to show off his new girls, and all she gonna do is just show off this new perfect relationship with some superstar that has to be on a boat with a yacht with mad teens. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, he's having fun. But I don't know what's her end goal, because it seems like it's just redoing what you did with Offset early on in your career, you know. And I feel like she benefited from that relationship a lot, especially early on when he was in his prime. So let me know what y'all think on that specific situation. You know, I'm just trying to be as honest as possible. I just feel like Cardi B shouldn't be coddled, and we need to just be honest with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, we don't care no more. Like, you told us not to care, so respectfully, we don't care no more. And Offset, you need to man up. Somebody need to G-check Offset. Like, you know what I'm saying? Either you go ahead and just take care of them kids, or you stay out of the limelight and try to stop dissing her or whatever the hell that's keep making her upset, telling her that she wants her life, all that stuff. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's unnecessary, and it could be, somebody also said it could be a rollout for the album. I've seen somebody say that, and I'm like, you know what, it could also be a rollout, because what a coincidence, or the irony of the fact that there's a song out or a snippet, and everybody's like, oh, release it, Cardi, release it. So it's just one of those situations to where, why did I even just waste my time even breaking this down? That's how I be feeling. If she's just gonna drop an album, so she's pulling the Kanye. You know what I'm saying? So Let me know what y'all think. But just to switch the topics, just to get to something a little bit more fun in a sense, or funny, depending on how you look at it, if you're a fan of them or not. The New York Knicks. New York Knicks lost to the Pacers. And one of my biggest issues with the Knicks is their lack of accountability on their main point guard. Now, I know everybody's going to sit there and be like, oh, whoa. What about Karl Towns? What about Thibs? What about this? What about that? What about Josh Hart? Look, the main person who gets all of the credit for the win should also be the main person that we hold accountable when they lose. Jalen Brunson in this series have gotten exposed in terms of being an actual point guard, which means taking care of your team, being someone that's reliable, and making sure that everyone eats and get the ball, right? I've seen too many possessions where I'm seeing him dribble the air out the ball, go into post-up position, and then go right back out, pass the ball, then get the ball right back. And then after like 3 seconds left in the shot clock, he's passing to OG Anunoby, Karl Towns, Josh Hart, and telling them to go do something if what he did didn't work. And I continuously see that over and over again. He takes about 18 to 20 shots, make about 9 to 10 to maybe 11. You know what I'm saying? 11 on a really, really good day, but really 8 to 9 with a lot more free throws, which also comes with foul baiting and like an excess amount of like theatrics that I just feel like a point guard shouldn't do, especially on a team that's like New York, you know what I'm saying? The New York Knicks. New York doesn't, as a point guard, that's not the type of point guard that I think of when I think of New York. I think of Starberry. I think of Kyrie Irving. When it comes to a crafty point guard that can get you buckets, that have like this strong, quote unquote, Mamba mentality. Like, we're going to get you over the hump. You know what I'm saying? Or sacrifice enough on defense, like you're going to play or try to get some type of steals. I haven't seen one great Jalen Brunson steal. So when it comes to Karl Towns, I feel like Karl Towns held a lot of the, took care of a lot of the things that Julius Randle didn't do when he was on that team, which is more perimeter play offensively, right? Being able to stretch the floor, also get rebounds consistently. That's one thing that he did in this most recent game, and nobody's talking about it because they're talking about his defense. Now, when it comes to defense, that's another issue that I have with your point guard, is that your point guard is not playing great defense. So how are you blaming a straight up power forward for not being able to do center things? Like, that's Mitchell Robinson's job, is to hold down the paint. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to pick and roll defense, last time I checked, Jalen Brunson is not fighting over screens. So when it comes to Karl Towns, he has to do overwork. Everybody on the team has to overwork. You just can't pinpoint specifically one player. But the only reason I'm pinpointing this specific one player is because he's the only player that I've not seen New York Knicks fans hold extremely accountable, because he's the head of the snake. He gets all of the praise. Why is he not being held accountable for getting outplayed by Nembhard, right? Why didn't he elevate his game or change his game? You know what I'm saying? Because in this series, it's too fast. The pace is literally the Pacers. They play at a fast pace. Everybody else seemed to keep up, but I've noticed Jalen Brunson gets really tired and he has to sit down. People's like, oh, Coach Thibs, you know, Thibs will play players all day. But you know, who's on the bench? His father. His father's like, hey, my boy is literally tired. You see him breathing like crazy. Jalen Brunson looked exhausted this series. Against the Celtics, not the Celtics, but against the last series, the Detroit Pistons, the pace was slower, right? It was a much slower series when it came to playing the style of game that Jalen Brunson is accustomed to, right? He plays a game to where it has to be a half-court, slow setting, kind of like the Boston Celtics play at that pace, kind of here and there. But specifically, the Detroit Pistons kind of play that pace. Sometimes they're gonna do that fast break as well, but it's a specific pace. The Pacers play extremely fast. All right. So when it comes to that, I feel like that's where Jalen Brunson lost all of his gas and his energy and his ability to even just dominate a game. So now he has to result in a lot more pump fakes and a lot more get in contact to where he can get on the foul line to slow the game down to where he could shoot the free throws to get that breath. See what I'm saying? If I just break it down, you know, so, but like, that's the main person I'm blaming, because if he would have checked all those boxes, play great perimeter defense, get a couple steals here and there, right? Maybe even get a technical foul because he wants his team to really rev up and get that energy, right? And just play make, right? Play make, get at least 9 to 8 assists a game, at least 8 assists a game. When you have so many great like pieces, like Mikal Bridges, that's a great 3-and-D, right? OG Anunoby, great player, all around player actually, right? Cardi Towns and Josh Hart gives you spirit, heart, rebound, and everything. You don't incorporate him in the game enough to where he can even feel, because after you get Josh Hart a couple easy layups, then he's gonna make that 3. But you're not watching when he played with Lonzo Ball. Watch how great Josh Hart played. Like, he looked amazing with Lonzo Ball. Why? Because they gave him the ball. They gave him the ball to where it was easier for him to score, basically is what I'm saying, right? Because it was more playmaking from the guard. Now, yes, coaching is a thing when it comes to setting up plays, but a lot of times when you think of the plays, it looks like they're having a lot of freestyle offense to where it's really not a lot of plays because they kind of want to play into that ISO game that Brunson loves. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you make Brunson run a lot more plays, then I feel like it could show different parts of his game, but maybe he doesn't like to be coached that way, because why would they not have done that already? You know what I'm saying? When he was in Luka's on the Mavericks, he didn't really like that role. He didn't really like playing off ball. So now I feel like if the Knicks were to get to the next level, they're gonna need a CP3. They're gonna need a Rondo-esque player that's gonna play, make, defend, and be able to shoot or lay up the ball at a high level. And get the ball out of Brunson's hand. Let him become more of a 2-guard. A lot like Curry. Curry's not a point guard to me. He's more of a 2-guard. So if you make someone pass him the ball, like Jalen Brunson, then I feel like he becomes a lot more effective, because now he's going to gather a lot more attention for him to do what he's going to have to do, because there's too much pressure on him to just play, make, and score. It's just not his game. And then defend on top of that. That's why I'm saying you're going to need a defending point guard. You know, maybe even a Dennis Schroeder. I feel like Dennis Schroeder is absolutely perfect for the Knicks if you make Jalen Brunson the 2-guard. That's just if I was to solve their issue, which, you know, I wouldn't mind. But will they listen? Probably not, because the Knicks is kind of engulfed in this fandom of Jalen Brunson, right? They don't want to hold him accountable. But that's just my main take, and my main point is really not to bash on the Knicks, because I like all of their players except for the leader, Jalen Brunson. I just feel like he's not that point guard like Isaiah Thomas on the Pistons. He's not going to get you that ring. He's not going to be a ferocious defender to where he's banging his head on the wall like, yo, I'm trying to steal that ball from you. And then I'm trying to score on the other end because my team needs me. I need that from a New York guard. I need a New York guard that's a leader, that's a strong, dominant aura. You know what I'm saying? My New York guard can't be passive mentally or look that way. Like, he just, not passive because he don't pass, but passive in terms of his aura, his energy. He don't give me that raw. Like, when I look at him, I don't think of New York. That's how I feel. That's just my honest opinion. But let me know what y'all think in the comments below. That's just that take on the New York Knicks and the Pacers. I'm not even going to talk a lot on the Pacers because the Pacers did exactly what I kind of expected them to do. If you look at my oldest video, probably a year and a half ago, which was when Pascal Siakam got traded to the Pacers, I reacted and I said Pascal Siakam is going to make them go to the Eastern Conference Finals that year. I thought he was going to do it that year, right? And I thought he was going to go to the finals that year because of his ability to play that role that he played, the two-way scoring threat. Like, he's just a beast in the paint with his spin moves and everything that he does in the paint. And then on top of that, he defends at a very high level while being extremely tall. So it just helps to have a player like that with a playmaking point guard that's giant like Tyrese Halliburton, right? When you have this duo of a playmaker and a big that likes to eat, you're gonna always, to me, find success. And that's what the Pacers do. And they play at a very fast pace with Rick Carlisle, who's a great coach to me, always have been, right? And he found his another pupil. So that's just my honest opinion on the Knicks and the Pacers. I'm not gonna get too deep on the Pacers. I can talk about them all day, but I just really want to solve the the Jalen Brunson issue with the Knicks. In order for them to win, they have to take care of Jalen Brunson. Either trade him for a player that is what I'm talking about, or hold him accountable to where he can actually make those sacrifices and change his game. If he changes his game, I will gather so much respect for him. But just because I feel like he's a little arrogant, I don't think he's going to change his ways. He's kind of like, and when I mean arrogant, I mean like a Damian Lillard arrogant. Like, well, Dame actually played a lot more defense this recent year before he got injured. But are you going to actually sacrifice and do something other than trying to put the ball in the hoop for your team to actually win? It's all about winning. It's not about one person. It's a winning team. Team is a team thing. There's no I in team. Cliche, but it's literally facts. So I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna go on to the next segment, which is basically the Zion and Moriah Mills situation.
Everybody deserves a chance to be heard, and I hope me and any of the other victims, you know, I just hope we all get justice. And the amount of bashing, humiliation, slander, and threats that I've been receiving these last 3 years have been a lot, and it's causing me a lot of stress, emotional distress, and I just hope we all can come to justice and this all can be resolved and nobody has to relive all these things ever again.
There's people speculating that you maybe are Jane Doe. What's the deal?
So, before I answer that, I would like to say I really hope all the victims, including me, get justice and, you know, things that have happened in the past with him and with anybody else, you know, everything gets resolved because a lot of us don't deserve that. And, you know, I just feel like a lot of things have been swept under the rug for so long, you know, and I feel sorry to the victim. You know, I've been through a lot of stuff with him and it's just shocking, you know.
Has this suit that you saw, you know, drop just now, given you any feelings like, hey, you know, or inspiration to file your own grievances, your own suit?
I don't want to talk about that right now without my lawyer present, but I'm just shocked, and you know, hopefully he changes and the victim and me and everyone else can find comfort and, you know, move past all of this.
Any message to Zion himself?
Zion, I hope you can change your ways and, you know, just change, because this is disgusting what you're doing to everyone, and it's just not right. And this is not the man that I met a few years back. This is not who I thought you would become. This is not a representation of, you know, your job, and you know, this is very serious. And I just hope you change your ways, because your job and your family and your legacy.
If you guys know anything about Zion and Moriah Mills, you guys know that this dated back, I believe, 2023, around the time when she was on Twitter, kind of going insane, kind of just writing tweets about how he did this and he's lame at this, and oh, he left her for someone else that's not better than her, that's not taking care of him and making him gain weight and all this other stuff, right? Basically bashing Zion Williamson to a point where she actually got banned on Twitter. And I was constantly just thinking to myself, like, why, first of all, is this lady, who's much older than Zion, reacting in such a childish way, especially someone who's been in the industry, because she is a corn star, which means that she's somewhat in the industry and she should be kind of well equipped to be handled, to handle limelight or being around someone famous, right? But she kind of used that opportunity as like a money grab and a clout chase, you know, by also exposing how much money that he sent to her and stuff like that. But at that moment, I was just looking at it like, all right, this is just a jealous person, because he's moved on to someone that honestly cares about him or loves him enough to where she's actually fighting for him and catching charges. You know, this is two-time baby mom, and she's also from Queens Flip Network. Rose, right, is most people know her, and she's famous for, you know, obviously fighting. And it's pretty interesting that they want to label this situation as a R case. Like, that's what Moriah Mills want to label it, right? An R case. But at the time where she was kind of going off on Zion Williamson, why didn't she use that or leverage that as something that was to end his career? Because at that time, she said that she was going to release a tape of them two being together in order to tarnish him or whatever. I don't even know what was even the point, but it was clearly a money grab because she was just mad that he wasn't sending that $75,000 or $175,000 that he was probably sending. And once that money stopped, now she had to continue to go back online and start doing all of this extra, you know, HOR stuff in order to make money again, because he kind of took her away from being in that life to where she had to sell her body for pay. And she kind of got accustomed probably to Zion's payments here and there, especially at his age, 20 years old. He was probably or probably still is, I don't know, but at the age he was probably very dumb, right, when it comes to fulfilling a fantasy, fulfilling something that he probably grew up watching, and he just wanted to do it, right? But it got to a point where the OGs didn't check him and be like, yo, you gotta watch out for that. Like, yo, you gotta, like, this isn't the type of stuff you want to get into, because financially it's just always gonna be always gonna be sucking you dry. No pun intended. Pause. Right? So when it comes to that, I feel like Zion and a lot of people like Anthony Edwards, this is proof that OGs kind of matter, or vets in the game kind of matter. The NBA doesn't have a lot of vets anymore. When I was growing up watching the NBA, there's always used to be vets on the bench. It used to be old players, right? And you wonder why they old players. Even recently, like Jared Dudley's probably the most recent vet that I've seen that's out of the league. But he was on the Lakers team, and he was being a vet to a lot of different players. Even when he was on the Nets, every team that he was on, he was being a vet. And he kind of would just give pointers or just kind of help players off the court and on the court. It's just to give them a guidance, someone that's going to see them on their level, because they're going to be a little arrogant at that age because they're going to feel like they're superstars. But when they see someone that played in the same field as them, that played for a long time, they're going to have a lot more respect for their outlook or their views, especially if they grew up and knew their name, right? So when it comes to Zion and Anthony Edwards, I kind of put them in the same box because they're superstar talents, but I feel like the OGs in the game didn't go to them and like break down how this stuff works, how to be more demure, right? How to be more subtle when it comes to certain things, or how to be more mature. And I feel like she preyed upon him, right, at an early age at that time, because he was fresh out of college going into the league. And I feel like that was around the time that she basically got latched on to him, around 2020. So you guys take all this stuff in consideration. You guys kind of start understanding the psyche of how all of this stuff works. Because now, in this time where it's very sensitive, you know, one of the topics we're going to talk about is Diddy's trial. You have Moriah Mills basically using this as a moment to where she can get some type of payday, $50 million, right? She heard Cassie got paid and she wanted to come up. To me personally, this isn't like no other situation like Diddy or Cassie. You can't even compare it. Because to me, hers just seemed false all the way, just off the tonality. It kind of seems like where she wears shades, she's kind of hiding her eyes, so you can't really gauge that she's hurt or not. And to me, when someone is kind of hurt that bad, especially when it's the R, it's hard for you to kind of look at that person again. It's hard for you to kind of go back to that person again after you've been violated. So for her to say that she got violated in 2021 or 2022, kind of early on in a relationship, and then kind of stay with them, just lets me know that it's a different type of situation, that it's probably not as severe or true. That's just my honest opinion. If I was to just look at it as like an investigator, just off of, like, if she would have said this originally when she first came out on them Twitter rants and just said that, hey Zion, you did this to me, blah, 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 and she started posting herself crying and stuff like that, it would have been a lot more believable. But when before you attacked him and it didn't work because she was trying to smear him and then kind of also get a payday out of him, but it didn't work. So now she come back and now quote unquote Tony Busby, which seems to be like the lawyer that everybody is going to use to kind of get some type of payday off of black celebrities. It's very, very interesting, and it's kind of getting to the point where it's kind of obvious that it's a payday hoax because Tony Busby is able to pull a lot of strings and get a lot of things done in the courtroom. But that's basically my take on it. Let me know how y'all feel. This is just one of those situations to where you kind of got to tip your hat off to the news, just for not really even tip your hat off. You just gotta like literally take your hat off because you just gotta run away when it comes to a situation like this. This situation, you shouldn't hold on to it. But let's get to the next topic. We got Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. Now, if you guys know anything about Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, you know, it's funny because you guys know the last topic I was talking about was like a false accusation topic, right? And, you know, this is a topic to where a lot of people feel like Megan Thee Stallion is lying and that she lied from the jump, you know? And I'm just gonna talk about other people's perspectives first before I kind of gain my perspective. You know, a lot of people are saying that in this recent video that I'm about to show you guys that she didn't get shot, you know? In her initial reaction, she's kind of calm. And a lot of people feel like if you've been shot, it's some type of trauma or some type of yelling or some type of crying that's gonna happen off of a bullet wound. But just before I play this video, to me, what I've heard through all of these, you know, just reading the cases and studying all of the stuff, I mean, it wasn't a complete bullet through the foot. Like, I've heard that the bullet probably hit the ground next to her and the fragment of that bullet split in the air and went into her foot, which then the doctors, when they went into her foot, seen that there was a fragment, and she lied. This is what she said. She lied because she wanted to protect a black man and not send him to prison. But then after that situation, he got very cocky and arrogant and started boasting as if he got away with something, or like, oh, I really just F this bitch, or oh, da da da, you know, with the saw and the horse foot in the music video. After that, she got angry, especially after the fact that she lost her best friend and she basically lost herself by basically cheating her best friend out by sleeping with Tory. Either way, a bunch of stuff. This is her perspective, but the public thinks all of that is a lie and that she didn't get shot and she stepped on glass based off of these videos.
Shooting or anything? That's how we got dispatched.
Well, we have the gun here, and then we have other units. They're searching the house where it happened, so that's all we have so far.
So nothing happened in the vehicle.
No, we don't have any casings. No.
Okay, from what you've been told. Okay.
And then there's some cash over. Looks like.
Was the person who got cut with? Do we know how she got cut?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a glass.
She dropped a glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself.
Okay.
And getting out of the vehicle.
Okay, so her friends didn't cut her then.
Right.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Rear passengers step out of the vehicle. See your hands. Show us your hands. Hold your hands up. Okay? Come out, people passenger with their hands up. Hands up. Alright, move back to the sound of my voice. Keep your hands up. Move back to the sound of my voice. Move back. Keep going. Keep going. Hey, stop, stop. Move to the left. Keep moving.
It's right down forward.
Move back to the sound of my voice.
Move back.
Back.
Oh, she cut herself.
If you did nothing wrong and you are the gunshot victim, why would you be going to jail for getting shot?
What's that?
Do you think we can go to jail?
I don't know. We're trying to figure it all out. As long as you guys cooperate with us and you guys tell us what happened, we'll go accordingly, okay? But if you guys are not telling us, if you guys are, then I don't think...
I really cannot go to jail.
Okay.
I cannot have that on my image.
Okay. So how did that happen to you?
Glass.
Glass? Where?
Where we were coming from. But I'm not from here, so I...
Okay.
That's the only place you got shot at? That's the only place you got shot?
I didn't get shot.
Oh, you did it?
No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir.
She was also very concerned about her image and.
Now, when it comes to this situation, I've always felt like Tory Lanez did something that night. Now, whether it was shoot her or beat her, I feel like he did something physical. And I feel like when he said I'm sorry, it's because he put both of those girls in that situation. If Tory Lanez, it's kind of similar to my early topic, the Stefon Diggs, right? Tory Lanez was kind of like the Stefon Diggs in the situation to where he was a dude that's playing on women, right? In a party or, around Kylie Jenner's pool, and he's trying to get Kylie, but he's dealing with the Kelsey girl, Megan Thee Stallion, but at the same time, he's dealing with Megan Thee Stallion, so he's dealing with all three of these women, or trying to, in a pool. I feel like he got very drunk and extremely sloppy that night, and that's where I feel like Tory Lanez knows that this happened, like in terms of his drunkenness led him to the worst decisions that he's ever made, because I feel like he probably got angry, and I feel like he put his hands on one of those women, and I feel like he might have either I honestly believe they wrestled with a gun, right? Or he actually triggered a shot around them, right? Because if you look at the initial video that she's talking about, hey, I'm not from here, right? Why would she say that? Like, you guys are kind of holding on to every word that she's saying right after the situation, to where, to me, she's drunk as hell. You can clearly tell she's caring about her image and, this and that, because to her, most likely she felt like they did something illegal. Whether who shot or not, she didn't feel like she was the victim in that situation, because she felt like, oh my God, we had a gun and there's a gun in the car and the cops is in front of us, right? And I think she was naked. I think that, I don't even know what was going on. How did they even get naked, right? But it's so many of these questions to where I feel like a lot of people is just gonna believe that it's too many loopholes, there's too many like holes in the story, to where people are just gonna believe she's lying all the way. And a lot of points to where there's a lot of times where I'm like swayed on both sides. I see one way and I see the other side. For me, my main point is that a lot of people make Tory Lanez seem like he's just a regular good guy, like a good Samaritan that just never did anything. Last time I checked, he did get August Alsina chin check and bleeding out the mouth. So when it comes to someone that I know is just completely an angry person, that's why I feel like he got, not saying that this is the main reason why he got stabbed up in there in prison, but I don't think he's someone that's not gonna get in trouble, basically is what I'm saying. I think, especially if you look at Tory Lanez's early career when he was in Toronto, he had some beef with some people in Toronto, and like they always hated him. Everywhere Tory Lanez go, there's some type of drama that's going to happen. So when it comes to this situation, I'm always looking at it both sides, because I'm like, all right, I know that she probably did some foul stuff and she probably lied here and there, right? Multiple times she lied to kind of protect him in a sense. That's kind of how I see it. But he kind of, Tory Lanez is Tory Lanez. He's a superstar. So he was at the point where, bro, I'm him, bro. Like, I'm not going to prison. Oh, this is fire. Like, what you mean? I got away with this. Hell yeah, I got away with this. I'm Tory Lanez. I'm him. So with that type of energy, I just felt like it led to a lot of this stuff. It's just my honest opinion. If you look at Tory Lanez early on in his career, a lot of drama has always been around Tory Lanez. So free Tory, in the sense that I feel like 10 years is way too long for something that's probably an accident, but we don't know the gun laws. in California. You know, we don't know the we don't know a lot of this stuff in this situation, this story. Tory Lanez never took the stand. He never told his side of the story. So we only know two sides. So once again, I'm gonna say free Tory because a lot of people are gonna think that I just took up for Megan Thee Stallion, but I'm just saying what I always saw in this case. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like he actually went to prison. It's for the gun, bro. I mean, it's his gun. Like, you know, so a shot went off that day. That's what we know for a fact, and that itself is probably illegal. On top of that, you know, it was two women, you know, and somebody could have lost their life, and that's where I'm always just like, all right, somebody could have lost their life, even though people was probably like, oh, the gun is this and the gun is that, but the story switched up too much. First they said it's Kelsey, then they said it's not Kelsey, then they said somebody else, then they said it's the bodyguard. Like, it's so many holes in both sides, which makes me just stay completely neutral. And it's too late because there's nothing we can possibly do for Tory Lanez freedom. It's just nothing we can do. There's a change.org, or there's a petition out for his actual freedom that has the most petition signatures of all time, damn near. And he's not being released. Donald Trump doesn't seem like he really cares about Tory Lanez, or Tory Lanez doesn't have a connect strong enough like NBA Youngboy to get him that actual pardon. So in terms of Tory Lanez freedom, it's just hearsay, and kind of like fandom, because we do miss his music, we do miss his energy. You know, he held it down during 2020 during quarantine with Quarantine Radio. Tory Lanez is a spectacular talent, but a lot of stuff went on that night that we are just not sure, and we don't have the facts on. But we do have the facts that was given to court, that was used in court. So let me know what y'all think about that situation, because I know a lot of people is gonna say, you're bugging, Alpha, you're bugging. Whoa, no, there ain't no way you siding with her. I'm not siding with her. Like I said, I'm neutral. I'm staying neutral. That's my strongest point. Keep me in the middle, because I don't know who's right in the situation. Both sides, to me, did a lot of wrong, right? I feel like Megan should have never lied in the beginning, because now it just creates a funky mess, right? There's so many holes in her story. So if you want me to be fair, I'm going to tell you so many holes in her story. That's fair. Okay? So let's go on to the next topic, which is basically the Diddy trial. We're going to end it with the Diddy trial, because what else is there to talk about after Diddy trial? I mean, this whole episode has kind of been about misery loves company. Misery loves to be with misery. And this is just another situation with this Diddy case. I'm not even going to go deep into it, because a lot of other YouTubers has already broke it down for you guys. I'm going to probably on my most next videos, you know, I'm going to try to stay a lot more consistent this month, which is where I'm going to probably talk about a lot about this trial. Basically is what I'm saying. I'm going to do a lot of reading, breaking down the transcripts as much as I possibly can, because this case has swayed me a lot of different ways. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, they're doing too much trying to get him in prison. And sometimes I'm like, oh man, this is the most evil man since Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, right? Because of the actual like way that he did it, the way that he goes about controlling these victims, you know. And this kind of just my reaction to the trial rather than me breaking it down. It's just knowing how he got away with this for so long, and my heart goes out to Biggie Small's family, because I just feel like his death resulted in a lot of Sean Diddy Combs like either jealousy, anger, money hungriness, or, you know, just complete pettiness. Because we've seen someone that made so much money off of so much talent that was around him, and I mean immense talent that was around him. And for him to have such little talent, you know, I've always skipped Diddy's music whenever it came on, or whenever he was on Biggie Small's songs, because I love Biggie Small, my favorite rapper. I've always skipped his songs. I mean, his verses, you know, Play a Hater, right, is Biggie Small's, he's rapping, you know, some old school sample style, like Play a Hater, kind of sing or whatever, right? And then here comes Diddy want to come singing with him. I don't want to hear you sing with him, bro. Get out of here. You're not the superstar. So I just kind of always felt like ever since then, I've kind of always looked at Diddy with like a side eye, like, I'll never trust you. You know, somebody can't die in front of you or around you, and you somehow get back into New York and you have to get escorted secretly outside of California to get back into New York. You know what I'm saying? After Biggie Smalls just died right there next to you. How do you survive and not Biggie? Why did they go for both of y'all? That's so weird, right? So ever since then, I've just never looked at him like he's a good guy, right? And when all of this stuff comes out, I just feel like, for me, it just fits his character and what I've heard about him since him hitting someone over the head with a bottle in the 90s, you know, his manager or something, right? He's kind of always been somebody that's very aggressive. And then when you look at him in the Halloween situation, he wore a Joker costume. I mean, what other character could he possibly play that's more obvious to who he is? I mean, he's the Joker. But if you understand the Joker's psychological pain and trauma that kind of led them to be the Joker, then that kind of make sense on how he became Diddy. Now, we're not going to psychoanalyze Diddy to kind of understand why did he become such a freak off magician or insane person to where he constantly needs these visuals or people to just be slaved, basically, or just abused for his pleasure. You know, that's just going to be too long of an episode, and that's just going to be too dark of a psychology. You know, I'm going to let someone else take care of that. But if you want a great understanding of a lot of these maniacs, you kind of have to go into their past. You kind of have to go into their upbringing. Who made them this way? Who taught them these things to make them feel like this is okay? You know what I'm saying? Abusing assistants or abusing lovers. Who taught you that this was the right thing to do? Who taught you that this was the right way to get off? And that's where I feel like you'll get so much answers if you go deeper into that psychology of the dark people in terms of evilness. But I'm not gonna get too much more deep into that because I feel like in my more future videos, we're gonna talk more about this trial in more detail. But just my overall view of it, I just believe that this person should be imprisoned just because we lost such a great artist as Biggie Smalls, and I feel like it's because of him. In his Biggie Smalls' last interview, Biggie Smalls said that he wanted to leave Bad Boys, right? He said Diddy is paying us pennies compared to everybody else. Like he said, the interviewer asked him, hey, if you were the boss, what would you do? He said, I would give everybody in this room a raise. I'm like, well, goddamn, how much is he paying them? And he's like, you know, Diddy's paying us in pennies, damn near. So that's just how I feel. You know, I heard Biggie Smalls wanted to start his own record label. And I just feel like we lost such a great talent because of him and his arrogance. And he, you know, didn't take the time after to be great or do something great with the money that was, you know, that Biggie Smalls had, right? And he made sure that he got all of the money too, on top of that, mind you. He didn't do something great after. He continued to hurt more people, hurt more and more people. And whether it's true or not, we know that he did hurt people. Whether he's done what they're actually charging him to do, I know that he's hurt people, all right? So because of that, I personally, if I was to judge him and, you know, if I was the justice system, you know, I would label him a criminal. And I feel like he does need to serve time because he needs to, you know, in a sense, to not be biblical, or I'm not religious at all, but to repent quite physically and quite literally. He needs to think about his wrongdoings on people and kind of gain a little more empathy for others, because it seems like this is someone that lacks empathy and extreme narcissist. So these are just my thoughts, my takes. Misery loves company. It's me and boy Alpha Meter Room, back on another banger, man, by ourselves, doing this thing solo dolo, covering these topics. We're gonna be a lot more consistent. Let me know what y'all think. It's me and boy Alpha Meter Room, back another one. Peace.